Back. What's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 5. That's number 5. Watch that autofocus. Episode number 5. There it is. Of Jon Does. My gas, as always, is here to say hello. I am drinking a Coke. That's my preferred caffeine intake. I don't drink coffee. I might be one of the only few people I know that doesn't drink coffee. So I'll drink a Coke here, maybe once a day or every other day. Really depends on what I got going on. I do need a little bit of that caffeine today. I'm just kind of, low energy. So I'm going to hit that. That sweet relief. I haven't released anything. I released some Coke into my mouth. That sounded way worse than it intended. How's everybody doing? Hope you all had a good long weekend. Got to rest and spend time with your friends and family and pets. And hope your pets are doing well after loud noise night, as so many refer to it as. Nobody refers to it as loud noise night. 4th of July happened. That's great. There's something to celebrate, I guess. Freedoms that don't fully exist for at least the 120 million people in this country. So at least you got a day off work. You know what? Let's go. You got a day to just kick your feet up. Forget about everything. Your boss's bullshit. Your own bullshit, or maybe you dealt with your bullshit. You know what? Either way, it was your day. It was your day to be free of responsibilities. Maybe not. Not everybody. Anyways, we're here. We're back. I before we get started, wanted to remind everybody not to just like and subscribe to the channel. I mean, do those things, but there's more to help support this channel. There is, as we see up top, wilddinosaur.com, where I have my merch store. I have my NFT shop. It's been there for a long time. No one really cares about that. That's fine. There's a lot of, as I would call, B-sides. I was working out, seeing if that was going to be something people were interested in. Turns out not really. That's fine. That's totally okay. But what I do have is the shop where you can get t-shirts. This is one of my designs. You may ask, John, do you wear your shirts all the time? The answer is yes. I basically only own my shirts and sweatshirts. I do have a couple other things, but for the most part, I wear my own brand because I am sleazy that way. But there's more than just the t-shirts. There's sweatshirts. There's really good sweatshirts. The quality of sweatshirt is I'm super proud of. I had my previous store through Society 6 didn't have the best quality sweatshirts themselves. And this is definitely a step up. So check out the sweatshirts. I got stickers. There's socks. And tote bags. Here's one of my tote bags. And there are options with the straps on these too. You can change the color. I think the 3 color options are black, red, and orange, I believe. But yeah, this is one of my tote bags that I take to the store. I use it as a grocery bag frequently. So I keep 2 different Wild Dinosaur tote bags in my car. The other one's from my old store. You know what? I'm going to move this chair out of the way. Meant to do that earlier. I like not seeing that chair there. And yeah, there's a giant blanket that I keep there because it's a good blanket. It's a really good blanket. I just don't really have a place to store it during, excuse me, during the summer months or the hot weather here in California. So anyways, check out wilddinosaur.com. Up there again, that is my merch shop, and the best way to help support me and my channel, aside from liking, subscribing, and you just generally watching any of my videos at all on this channel. I'm trying to reach some of those monetization goals that YouTube has. Reach some watch time. I think we can do the amount of watch time I need to start monetizing this channel. I think we can do that in a couple of weeks. I'm gonna have to do a little more work to get subscribers. I haven't even breached 50 yet, and that's fine. That's my job to take care of that. I want to try to get more people here for more conversations, to chime in. I would like recommendations for things, video games, movies. Oh, all of it, just be a part of it. So like, subscribe, check out wilddinosaur.com. And that's the best thing you can do. So yeah. I have some sad news. There's something that I have been into for a while. I haven't. I know I'm a part of this the statistic here on this one, but I hadn't been as involved in the last year or so, and not anything to do with anything really other than just life gets in the way. But there is something that I started watching when I started getting involved with YouTube stuff. It was all just consumption. And I started watching a lot of movie review channels. I remember seeing John Campia on the AMC Movie Talk, and then he started bringing more and more people in. And eventually I was introduced to Schmoedown, and they have the movie trivia Schmoedown. If you never caught the movie trivia Schmoedown, I would go back and check some of that stuff out. It's basically described as WWE meets movie trivia. So there was personalities, there was teams, and they would compete in movie trivia for title belts. There's the championship, there's teams. There was an Inner Geekdom belt, which was, like sci-fi, fantasy, comic book stuff. And there was also a Star Wars belt, a specific Star Wars belt. I think, did they have any other belts? I think that was it. The movie Trivia Schmoedown was really fun. I started watching it, started getting into it, started following all the players, and I've never been that kind of a person to really follow stats. Like, I don't care about sports much. And within that category, like player stats, that's stuff I just don't care about typically. And still with movie trivia, I didn't follow stats as much, but I enjoyed all of it. They had, there was some celebrity matches at times. They had Chris Jericho, Kevin Smith, competed a handful of times. Sam Levine, who you might know from Freaks and Geeks and Inglourious Bastards, and a bunch of other stuff. He's a working actor. He was part of the Schmoedown for a while. Not only was when was he one of the top competitors and champions for a long time, but he also ended up helping run things. I think he ran some factions. I think he managed some players. It was really fun. I got a chance. My Pat, who was on the show last week, and I introduced him to the movie trivia Schmoedown, and he got into it, and we went to go see one of the live shows. Was it Spectacular? I can't remember. I think it was Spectacular. 2019 maybe. It was before the pandemic. Obviously, they haven't done a ton of live stuff since, because renting venues during the pandemic was difficult, hard to do, for them. Well, the sad news is, after 9 seasons of movie trivia Schmoedown, it's unfortunately ending. I know it was a community for a lot of people. I felt like I was part of that community for a bit. I didn't interact as much. I didn't interact as much as I could have, maybe, but yeah, I kind of always assumed it'd be there for a while, and unfortunately, they have hit some snags. Christian Harloff, him and his co-partner Mark Ellis, are two two guys that created the movie trivia Schmoedown. Christian Harloff, I still follow his YouTube channel. He does movie reviews, and things like that. And then Mark Ellis, he's a stand-up comic, and so he tours. He's pretty funny. I would check out some of his stuff too. There's a problem. My phone's ringing, and usually when the phone rings and nobody answers it, the dog starts to howl. And he's going. Here he goes. Can you guys hear that? There he is. I swear, he's not being abused. He's literally just laying there. That's what happens when you have a landline in 2022. Is animals react negatively to it. So just get a CB radio. Internet and CB radio. Those are the only two things you need. So yeah, so Schmoedown is ending. It makes me pretty sad. Pat and I had got tickets to go to one of their other live events, and that was canceled due to COVID. And we figured we would eventually get back on track, or Schmoedown would get back on track enough that we could go see another live event. I guess that's not the case. So this year is, I don't know what their final schedule is, but again, movie trivia Schmoedown, after 9 seasons, is ending, and makes me sad. There's another bit of information I want to get into. Speaking of Kevin Smith, speaking of directors, there apparently is going to be a trailer tomorrow for Clerks 3. And this is an official poster that was released for Clerks 3. And as you can see, the right there in the middle, the tagline they have is, they're too old for this shift. Ha, get it? Because they are working a shift at a store. Yeah, I get it. It's pretty good. We shall see how this looks. I know people are apprehensive about Kevin Smith these days. We are far removed from the days of um, Chasing Amy, the first Clerks. Um, we're kind of removed from those days. Kind of. We're far removed from those days. Not to say that he's not capable of doing those things anymore. I just don't know uh, where Kevin Smith's priorities are, and I don't mean that in an condescending way. I mean that as like I would genuinely like to know what kinds of content he's interested in making, because he spent about a decade or more now working with comic booky stuff. I know, well, he's been working with comic books his whole life, really. Um, he did one right on that the death of Superman. Is that what it was? The death of Superman. Superman Lives. I don't remember what the Nick Cage Superman was called. I think it was Superman Lives. He took a pass on that screenplay, and yeah, he's just been doing. Oh man, he shot some episodes of The Flash and Supergirl on the CW lately. I know he's got some of those other. I forget the name of the trilogy that he was doing, but the one with Tusk and Yoga Hosers and oh, what's the other one? There's three of them. Can't remember. Is the third one even out? I can't even remember. I watched one of them. It wasn't Tusk. It was Yoga Hosers, I believe. Watched that one, and wow, I enjoy it. I enjoyed it. There is dumb. It's dumb. It's not a movie that a lot of people, I think, would be super interested in like rewatching. I don't even know that I'm gonna rewatch it. But it's stupid in the ways of like B movie stupid. Um, I'm I enjoy camp quite a bit, and I think there's a place for it in Hollywood. No, there's a lot of people that want to that don't want to waste their time. There's a lot of content out there. I get it. I completely get it. And we don't all want to waste our time, but I do think there's a place for all kinds of media, particularly bad media. You don't have to like everything. It's not everything is a 0 or a 10, and that's great. And sometimes it feels like we're required to either love or hate something, and you can just be about something, and it's okay. It's okay. It's kind of like Star Wars, you know. There's some really good Star Wars, and there's some really bad Star Wars, and there's everything in between. And you know what? I like it all. There's parts where I'm like, that didn't work. And there's parts where I'm like, that was the coolest thing I've seen all year. Rise of Skywalker, best of the Star Wars movies. I'm kidding. Those are fighting words. That's my least favorite Star Wars movie. That's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Kevin Smith, who was in Rise of Skywalker for like a second and a half, for like three frames, I think. He's a background character somewhere. when Poe is on Kajimi? Is that the name of the planet? With Zori Bliss. Yeah, there's Kevin Smith in the background somewhere. You can't even see his face. He's wearing a hood, but he's talked about it. Anyways, he's been doing nerd stuff for a long time, which is his bag. And you know, it would be really good for me to see him do something that's a little bit elevated from what he's been doing, but he doesn't have to go for Oscar gold or anything like that. There's potential for Clerks 3 here to fit that bill. We'll see. I enjoy Kevin Smith. Like I said, I respect the kind of director he is today. I think a lot of people will say negative things about, you know, his directing style. And I don't know that it's warranted always. You can be critical of the content you want to watch, but I don't know. To say Kevin Smith's lost it, I don't think is fair. I feel like he's just been doing what he wants to do. And you know, he's not 90s Kevin Smith anymore. He doesn't have to cut his teeth trying to get everyone's attention all the time. He already has it. Not just through his movies, but through the last, 20 years of him doing cons and A Night with Kevin Smith or his podcast, which I that's another one I watch sometimes. He has a podcast with Mark Bernardin called Fat Man on Batman. And I enjoyed that one. They shoot that live from the Cantina in L.A. Pat and I have visited the Cantina once. We happened to walk by it and it was open. And were they shooting something? They do live streams from there constantly, so you can go in, grab a drink, and potentially watch a podcast. The big one obviously is Kevin Smith's, but they do a number of other podcasts streams out of the Cantina. It's called the Scum and Villainy Cantina in LA, and it is modeled after roughly modeled after the Cantina in Star Wars, but not exactly for copyright issues. So there is this poster. There was 2 posters out. This one I thought was the better one of the 2. And I guess there's going to be a trailer tomorrow. Tomorrow being Wednesday, July 6th, 2022. We will be getting, I guess, a trailer. So what's it going to be about? I think it's confirmed Rosario Dawson's coming back. She was in Clerks 2. Just gotta wait and see what's coming out tomorrow. Excuse me, I'm just burping over here. Just living my life. Attack of the Burps. Attack of the GERD. That's my next short film. All right. Well, I'm gonna do a commercial break here in a couple minutes, but I do want to apologize for last week when my camera shut down. It was overheating, and it's a it's a common occurrence in the Canon R6 mirrorless camera. I like this camera quite a bit. I don't know if that was... I didn't buy it for my webcam. I bought it for photography and video production. Along with, I have a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera as well. Those are my two cameras that I have. And I was, I've heard about the overheating issue with the R6, and it's happened to me twice. It happened when I was shooting the second part of the Dark Jon origin. The second part of that was I shot one part in a hotel room in Las Vegas when I was in Vegas a couple weeks, actually like a month or two ago now. Visiting, Pat and I went to go visit our friends, Ian and Lauren, who were in town. School's out. One's a teacher, one's in law school. The school's out for summer, so they went to Vegas, and we drove out to Vegas and met up with them. I don't gamble and I don't drink, so my purpose for going to Vegas, aside from Ian and Lauren, who I love them, so of course I want to go visit them. But in regards of things to do in Vegas, I went to Meow Wolf, which was something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I've been wanting to go to the Santa Fe, which is the original location. They have 3 now in Santa Fe, Vegas, and Denver. And Meow Wolf was awesome. I highly recommend it. It is family friendly, so all ages are welcome. Super fun. But that's what I was doing in Vegas and shooting my Dark Jon origin story. So the first half I shot in the hotel room, which is, if you've seen the video, me trying to fall asleep and my inner monologue, who happens to be Dark Jon, pops up. The second part I shot was the Dark Jon segments. I shot in my garage with the background and a smoke machine, and the garage got hot. I had to keep it closed because I had animals in there that I didn't want. I had to keep the garage door closed so the animals wouldn't get out. But there's a door from the living room into the garage that was open, so they could stroll from the house. And the cats eat out their foods out on a workbench in the garage, and then their bathroom is in another corner. All right, so I was shooting that second part, and I ran into overheating issues. So that was the first time. The second time was on Friday when Pat was here, and I had to cut the show early, just a little bit early. I was okay with it. Pat was okay with it because we wanted to go eat. We were hungry. There's pizza waiting, so we had pizza from Toppers in Camarillo. If you're in Ventura County, you should try Toppers. I mean, if you're in Ventura County, you've tried Toppers, but if you haven't, you should go to Toppers. There's a handful of them in the area. So we had pizza waiting for us. So when the camera gave me the old heave ho, the old overheat, I just decided to call it and see if I could work on it. I did do a software or a firmware update. So the Canon R6 is now this guy right up here. Is now working with firmware 1.5.2, I think was the latest update. So we'll see. I don't shoot in 4K. I shoot in 1080. Honestly, I don't know how that works with the webcam or being a webcam. My internal settings that I set for this were 1080p. I didn't want to go any higher. Before I started live streaming this, I was using it to practice with C-Log. Not very I'm not the best with color correction. I'm trying to get better. So they're shooting in C-Log and 4K and all that stuff. But for the webcam, I'm just shooting in 1080. And I mean, it's fine. It looks good. This camera is sharp and everything, but I hope I don't really run into too many overheating issues with this here going forward. It can potentially be an issue for me if I'm, let's see, the Dark John overheat happened after I was shooting about over an hour at that point. And with the live stream here, the first couple episodes I went hour 15, hour 20. And then at, 55 minutes, I started to get the overheat here when Pat was here. So we'll see how it goes. I do still need to get a constant power source for this. If I do more live streaming, more than just the hour that I've been going, because the battery life on this is about 2.5 hours, I think. And I have a spare battery right next to the camera in case I can just pop it in real quick. But yeah. Again, sorry for cutting Friday a little short. And I did say I was going to be back Monday, and I didn't come back Monday. Didn't really plan that. I was going to go live Monday, but I didn't realize there was some stuff going on at the house here. Not a phone ringing, but there were people coming over and whatnot. So my apologies. Anyways, it's about 5:35, 5:34. So I'm gonna go to a quick commercial break before we come back to my main topic today. So let's check it out. Gardening can be cheaper than grocery shopping and therapy.
Richard's Pet Wedding Facilities. And I give these stickers away at every pet wedding. The kids love them too.
This bag from, what's his name? Wild Dinosaur? Weren't they all wild? What an oxymoron. Anyways, I like to put my special things in this bag. Plus, I'm pretty sure this is my spirit animal.
Life gave me lemons, so I sold them for this sweet baseball tee. All right. Well, go do some gardening, and don't forget your bonnet. That sun's getting hot, so just an important reminder. All right. Well, I'm sure, as you guys can tell by the thumbnail and the title of this, I got some things to say. The Legend of Zelda. It's my favorite. It's my favorite video game franchise. I first played my earliest memory of seeing Legend of Zelda was being at a cousin's house and hearing that he wasn't allowed to play. One of my cousins wasn't allowed to play Legend of Zelda because it gave him nightmares. And this was the first one. This was way back in the late 80s, early 90s. he wasn't allowed to play Legend of Zelda because of nightmares. And then eventually I got my own game, and that was the first video game I ever beat myself. And I have tried to be conscious of the games that are around and play them. And I will tell you now, I've done a terrible job. There are a lot of games, and I haven't played very many of them. Again, that comes from the fact that I'm not fully a gamer. I haven't spent most of my life playing video games. I've spent some of my life playing video games, and it will continue to remain that way. I don't dislike video games, and I'm not the type of person to say things like, oh, video games are responsible for our problems in this country, which is nonsense. They exist everywhere. There is one thing in the United States that we have access to that other countries don't have readily accessible. And it's not video games, I'll tell you that. Anyways, I'm gonna start off. This isn't a ranking. I'm just going through some of the games that I've played. It is a rough ranking. And I waive my right to change any of the listings at any time. If I, play more different other games that I haven't played before, and I'll go through at least one that I started playing previously, didn't get very far in, but would love to go back to it and can't really get access to it now. It's not available on Switch. And so I'm going to start off with my least favorite one that I've played, and it's not a bad game at all. And I didn't play it when it originally came out. I played a remake of it, and that would be this one, Skyward Sword. I played this HD remake year or so ago, year and a half ago maybe. Whenever it was re-released, I picked it up on Switch and played this game. It's cool. There's some cool areas to go to. I did enjoy the flying element there. You have to fly around a bit in this game to get places and handling some serious business by what are they called? I forget. You get it's like a giant chicken thing. Sorry, just making sure my fan's still on. It's hot in here. Yeah, this game's good. It's not a bad game. It's my least favorite on my list that I have completed. I don't know what more to say about this game other than it needed a hook shot. No, I don't remember. It probably has a hook shot. I don't. Don't listen to me. Why are you guys here again? I'm just kidding. No, this game's good. I know it got a lot of flack when it came out because what was it on GameCube? I think it was released on GameCube or Wii. And I think some of the controls were difficult for people, and they since changed some of the control of some of the gameplay for the remake, and I think it made it a little interesting. You know what? Sorry, this is bothering me. I'm gonna tighten my shot up a bit. Here we go. I'm better with that. That feels better. Does that feel better to you guys? It feels better to me. Again, I'm not trying to work out huge technical problems, but if I can tighten my shot up real quick, I'm going to do that. Look, you get a better shot of those guitars over there and my Mando helmet in the back. Love it. I will do an episode about my guitar sometime if you guys want to hear about my stuff. If not, whatever. I like my guitars, and that's not all of them. I have 2 other ones that are in hiding. But you can't even see what they are, really. I'm sure some guitar players might recognize what they are, even though they're out of focus. And I'm not going to do anything to fix that. Anyways, that's what I was doing when I wasn't playing video games. I was either rollerblading in high school, jumped down stair sets and whatnot. There's some videos on this channel of me rollerblading back in the day. Used to be okay at it. Check them out, you know. One of them was an early music video I made for myself. It was just skating and some pretty crappy music that I made. So moving on from Skyward Sword. Ooh, this is when it starts to get tough for me, because Skyward Sword is considerably lower than the other games on the list, and I'll explain why. The next one that I have is Link's Awakening, and I have played both the original and the remake, and I've played the original multiple times. This was one of my first games that I got. It was Christmas, sometime in the 90s, and my mom had gotten me a Game Boy, one of these brick Game Boys. I'd gotten this for Christmas, and it came with Zelda. It was a package. I still have it, still love it. I still pick it up every once in a while. Not like every other year, every like 6-7 years. Pick it up, turn it on, put new batteries in it, you know, make sure it's still good. That was the first game I had ever beat by myself. I loved that game, and I played it. I've run through that game probably 6 or 7 times, maybe more. I don't know if I have a count on this one. But I always really loved it. I always really loved the dungeons and like the weapons you get. You know, I wasn't used to seeing things where you're collecting a weapon a level, essentially, you know, and you use it to progress through the game. At certain points, you need the mirror shield to get up to Death Mountain to block fire with the mirror, so you can get through this pathway and onward, which you can't do in the rest of the game. Or there's, you know, like a huge gap between an entrance to a place and where you need to go, and the only way to do it is with the Pegasus boots and the feather that makes you jump. You know, it's things like that where the map starts opening up as you beat levels. It was a really good game, and the remake was just as good. I passed that off to somebody else so they could play it. Pass it off to a buddy of mine, Brandon. I'm not sure if he ever got through it or not, but I hope he did. I really love that game, and it would have been higher on my list had these other games not come out. And it's so low on the list right now because these other games are so good. It has nothing to do with Link's Awakening being a bad game. It's just a little dated, but the 3D update was quite nice. So, next up is, I think a lot of people will guess the rest of my list. It's rather straightforward. But the next on my list, A Link to the Past. Now, I'll admit, I don't think I ever actually completely beat it. I think I always stopped at the final battle. Um, but this game was fun because for me, I remember going over to kid from my class, kid from school, Kevin. I remember going over to Kevin's grandparents' house and playing this over there. It was awesome for me to see. it's like it's like seeing it's like watching black and white TV and then seeing color TV for the first time. That's what A Link to the Past was for me. It was it was the same kind of gameplay as Link's Awakening, but it was in color, it was vibrant, it looked cool. And there was a whole new world where you go to the dark world and you basically play the same world, but an alternate multiverse version of your world. It was really fun. That is one I every once in a while consider going back to trying out, but I'm kind of afraid because I don't know. I think the bar has been raised so high that I don't know if going back to Link to the Past would be good for me. Maybe it's something that does hold up, and you guys should tell me if you want me to try going back and playing that. I'll totally go back and play A Link to the Past. Until then, I want to keep moving forward with stuff. Because like I said before, I got a ton of video games for PS5. I haven't checked out yet any of the Uncharted games or anything like that. But I do love Zelda, and I will go back and check out some of them especially before Breath of the Wild 2 comes out in 2023, whenever that is. If it comes out in 2023, which I think it will, probably later, mid to late 2023, probably. All right, moving on. It's another easy one, I think. I think this is a lot of people's favorite as well. This was, if there was, if a Link to the Link's Awakening, sorry, if A Link to the Past was like watching color TV, this game was like watching a whole new. It was like being introduced to the internet for the first time, and that was Ocarina of Time. This came out when I was in 7th or 8th grade. I was in junior high, I believe, when this game came out. I remember at that point I had basically figured out that I liked Nintendo games, consoles, stuff like that. So I had a friend, Jake, who had a Nintendo 64, and was constantly getting not constantly, but he got some new games and stuff like that. And I remember having long-winded conversations about Ocarina of Time with him. This game I played a handful of years ago. Pre-pandemic, I played this game. And I do think it still holds up. I think okay. I, for my Switch, have not paid for the N64 remakes or Switch versions. So I haven't played Ocarina of Time on Switch with what they have available. The graphics have always been a little... They looked great at the time for junior high John. Don't make that a nickname. Young John, I think, didn't care about those graphics as much. Or I did. I always loved the color scheme from Zelda. There's always been a vibrance. The green, particularly, I've always really liked, and I think this game looked good, but is dated in its boxiness and its harsh lines with things. And I mean, it's just a product of its time, but it's still a really, really great game. I remember hearing all kinds of rumors about, hidden levels and stuff that didn't actually exist. But actually, I remembered hearing one about Link's Awakening that I don't think was ever confirmed. Supposedly there was a hidden level on the backside of the island that wasn't accessible from many places. Yeah, and again, I'm still rolling off of like 1990s rumor mill video game stuff, so I haven't really completely caught up. I'm an old man, and old man talks about video games. Not even well. He just likes to play some of them and then talk about what he's played. So, before we get to the best one, in my opinion, and all the things I have to say about it, there's a runner-up for me. And this is a runner-up because it's not technically a Zelda game. Technically, I mean, it is and it's not. It is and it isn't. It's not a it's a button smasher. And some of you folks out there might know it as Hyrule Warriors. This game's real fun. If you like to just button smash and rack up points, this is that game. It does a bit to further some of the story from Zelda Breath of the Wild. Maybe there's stuff that kind of doesn't make sense, and maybe the sequel will explain some more, but this seemingly is like an alternate timeline of Breath of the Wild, I guess. I'm not sure. If that was ever explicitly said somewhere, let me know. I don't know if I caught that. I just know there's some things that don't line up with Breath of the Wild. But Hyrule Warriors is a real fun game. That I played through. I quickly tried to get through it because I was so interested to see how it expanded the Zelda universe. I think Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, for not being a direct Zelda game, is really enjoyable for a button smasher. Beat 'em ups. And I know I keep saying I don't like beat 'em ups. This I prefer over the Ninja Turtles game. As entertaining as it was, the Ninja Turtle game, that's a game I will only really play with other people. But Hyrule Warriors is something I will play by myself. So now that I've talked about my runner-up, I think it's time to talk about the obvious answer here. Breath of the Wild. This game, I think it won like best game of the year 2017. It probably should win best game of 2018, 19, 20, 21. No, there's good games out there for sure. And I mentioned before I played Ghosts of Tsushima for PlayStation 5, which I really like that game a lot. So it's hard to compare those two games because they are different, but they're similar at the same time. Ghost of Tsushima has the benefit of more powerful graphics, higher frame rates, things like that. But Breath of the Wild, I told the story before. I played the Breath of the Wild for the first time in about when did I move back to Southern California? It was after I moved back from Southern California. I was living with a friend in Sacramento. I had a Nintendo Wii U that I bought for mostly streaming service stuff, but was like, you know what, I'll get some games. And my roommate bought Breath of the Wild, and I watched him play a little bit of it. I was scared that I would get sucked into this game. Oh, Ryan's here. Hey, Ryan. I hope I can remember how to play that damn game. I'd like to be able to see more of it. It's my favorite. It's my favorite Zelda game for sure. When I first played it, I had moved back down. I had moved from Sacramento and had a little bit of downtime while I was, looking for jobs and whatnot. And so I started playing it, and I was right to be scared because I was just like sucked into this game. I think I probably played it straight for like, I mean, I slept, of course, but there was probably, at least 4 days straight where I was doing nothing but waking up, eating, playing Zelda, passing out, waking up again, playing Zelda again. I just ran through this game. I didn't run through it. It took me time. But then I beat it, and I decided I wanted to play it again in Master Mode. Master Mode's not terribly different. It's just the enemies are a little harder, and I think there's some notable differences. Instead of like the normal version, the harder enemies are white, like a off gray or something like that. In Master Mode, they're gold, and they become harder to kill, and they regenerate their health at the same time. I think that's pretty much the only difference in Master Mode, if I remember correctly. That's a loud airplane. I don't know if you can hear that, but so I ended up playing this game. I've now played this game. I think I'm on my 7th playthrough. I played this weekend for a little bit. I didn't really feel like starting a new game, like Horizon Forbidden West or Uncharted. Didn't really feel like jumping that deep into something, so I picked up where I left off, which was maybe about halfway through. By halfway through, I mean I about half of the shrines. I had half of the shrines completed, and I have more than that now. I didn't beat the game or anything, but I did run through that map and open up some shrines. Yeah, I do want to say real quick, this I know, Ryan, you haven't beat the game, and I won't say too much about storyline, but every time I play through the game now, after that first playthrough, the lesson I learned was open up once you get through that first the first initial phase. When you start the game, is you're on Hyrule Plateau, and you can't get off until you open a tower, and you've gotten a couple of I think 4 shrines open. Oh, Ryan says, not by a long shot. Still, there's nothing you can say that'll spoil any of it. Okay, well, I mean, honestly, this game isn't necessarily about story as much as it is the open world. So there's just cool stuff to do. But once I get off the Great Plateau, and I do a couple of things first. I get off the Great Plateau, then I open up a couple of shrines and maybe some towers so I can see my map, and then hit up what I think they send you to Kakariko Village first. Okay, you got the hang glider. Yeah. The hang glider makes things real fun. And as you build your stamina too, you get to just climb up huge things and then jump off and glide. It's fantastic. It's a beautiful game. It doesn't have the kinds of graphics that a PlayStation 5 has, but it didn't need it. I think it's a beautiful game. Visually and story wise or gameplay wise, it's a 10 out of 10 for me for sure on Breath of the Wild. Sorry, what I'm getting at is what I usually do after the Great Plateau. And the first trip to Kakariko Village is they start telling you to go deal with the divine beasts. There's 4 of them. The first one I usually do is not the closest one. I usually go to the bird village, Rito Village, and get that divine beast, because the power you get when you defeat that one, you get a champion power level once you defeat one of these divine beasts. I find that to be one of the most helpful tools you have. It's something that helps you launch into the air, and so you can climb things faster, or get over things a lot faster. So yeah, that's usually how I roll in Hyrule. I roll in Hyrule. I roll like a Goron. Just roll up in a ball and just tumble downhill, I guess, because gravity only works for me in that way. I'm not that powerful to go into a ball and roll uphill. It just doesn't work. I don't have the ab strength for that. But we're getting that overheating issue. You know what that means. I'm gonna probably sign off. Oh boy. Well, I'm gonna try to get this out before the overheating thing happens again. But that's my list for Zelda games. Thanks for joining, everybody. And if you get a chance to, please donate to Planned Parenthood. There's a link in the description. They need it as super bad these days. Also, check out wilddinosaur.com for my merch shop and all of my new stuff that's coming out. So, yeah. Man, this overheating issue is annoying, but I'm going to deal with it because I'm not buying another camera right now. All right. Well, anyways, thanks for joining me today, guys. I will be back tomorrow for another episode at 5 p.m. And I'm going to try to get Pat on again, and we might talk about some music videos we've made. So, all right, guys, thanks for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow.